Okay, just gonna give everybody an extra 30 seconds or so to join the room for our webinar on the Ichimoku. We'll start in approximately 1 minute or even 30 seconds. I see that so far we have about 25 people in attendance, so I'm really looking forward to starting off this week right. Okay, well, this webinar is being recorded, so I'm going to go ahead and start since we have people in the room already. And today's webinar is going to be focused around dollar pairs. All right, and before we start looking at dollar pairs, what I like to do is take a look at the dollar index and see which direction the dollar is, so that we can basically see the sentiment. Not only the sentiment, but the sentiment helps us dictate whether we are going to long dollar or short it and look to long risk pairs. Alright, so first what we have on our charts, as you can see, is the dollar index. And I'm taking a look at it from a daily perspective, but if we go down to and that was the weekly, I'm sorry, this is the daily right here. If we just minimize our time frame from the weekly to the daily, it's easy for you to notice that we are in a bullish run with the dollar index. Alright, we had price breaking above the cloud. We had this strong tanking Kijun crossover to the upside, and what we're witnessing is basically a dollar domination. Alright, it's taken over, and pretty much we should be looking to long dollar, and that's what I'm pretty much looking for. Alright, so that's from the daily perspective. Now when we minimize our time frame, we take a look at the weekly, and what we pretty much notice is that after the last you could say after the last 3 weeks, the dollar really started to pick up steam here. Alright, 3 really nice bullish candle. For the exception of last week's candle, the 2-week dollar index candles prior to that, you could tell was really nice and bullish. Alright, nice full long body candles. Alright, and last week we had the NFPs, so I guess price kind of had somewhat of a retracement. So I feel like this week is going to be that week which really dictates if we're going to see a huge run with the bulls taking dollar, at least in my opinion, towards a 50% retracement level at 82. Alright, so 82 is the next area of resistance that I have. However, if we also increase the time frame, let's go to the monthly. We have price trading above the cloud again. Alright, so however, it is capped by the Kijun, but nonetheless we do have price trading above the cloud, and really we have one of the nicest candles last month that we had in quite a while. Alright, so all signs are pointing towards bulls for me to long the dollar. So that being said, let's take a look at some pairs and see if we can find certain levels and situation where we could take advantage. Alright, so first up, let's take a look at dollar Swiss. Dollar Swiss, I talked about possible shorts in my last video. Alright, however, if price right now, as you could tell, and this is of the weekly, price is trading above that weekly line. Alright, and similar to the dollar index, we have dollar Swiss right on the cusp of trading within the cloud. Alright, and that's from the weekly perspective. We also had a bullish taking Kijun cross. Alright, now this cross is considered a weak crossover because the cross occurred below the cloud. Alright, so it just doesn't have as much significance to as if the cross occurred above the cloud. Alright, so we do have price right now breaking kind of above the trend line. We have the Tinkin crossing above the Kijun. So let's see how price shapes up later on this week, and maybe on Friday or next Sunday we could look to take a long dollar Swiss if we get that break above. Okay, let's take a look at dollar CAD. What we have with dollar CAD, let's go down to the daily. Now dollar CAD is also bullish, as you can tell. Price is trading above the cloud. Alright, and pretty much what we're looking for is a possible trading situation. So let's look if we could extend the time frame. It doesn't help quite as much We look for the 4 hour. I see a nice long ascending trend here. However, no real trend line that we could place. Alright. What we're basically trying to do, in my opinion, I'm looking for a pullback. Alright, because when you trade the Ichimoku, you're basically looking to catch a trend. In this case, we could pretty much see the trend started here. Alright, then we had some consolidation and then it picked right back up. Alright, so what I'm looking for is just a minor pullback so we could possibly look to get in. See, I don't want to pull back halfway, so I see the 50% is below the cloud. That to me is way too far back, because if this trend retraces 50% of its move, then the trend is a neutral state. Alright, if it retraces about 38% of its move, then I'll be more likely to get in. So I'm pretty much looking maybe above that 1082 level to get involved with this pair. I want to see maybe if we could find something on a daily as well, or maybe even a weekly. See, if I have to look this hard to find a trade setup for a pair, then maybe I should just stay out of it and look for another pair it correlates with. And we have a very nice trend line set up, as you could tell, touching 1, 2, 3, 4 times. But that is below the cloud. So this is a trend line setup. However, it's not one that's going to take shape anytime soon. So that being said, I do like dollar CAD, just like it at a lower level, about 200 pips lower. So you could just draw this trend line and leave it saved on your chart, so that when price do come towards that level, you'll be prepared with the trade setup already being on your chart. Let's take a look at dollar Singapore dollar. Pretty much the last dollar pair I'm going to look at. And right now, dollar Singapore dollar is trading below the cloud. However, it's trying to get some momentum. We do have that bullish Tenkan Kijun crossover. Although both the components are flat right now, indicating that the trend has stalled. Alright, but if we do break above the cloud, then I will like that for possible longs. Last time price traded above the cloud was basically back in March 20th. Alright, so we've been pretty much in a bearish state since then. And if we increase the time frame, we are still trading below the cloud. Alright, so let's keep that in mind. Even with dollar Singapore dollar, not a huge fan. I will be a huge fan, however, if price could break below this weekly trend line. So you see how with dollar CAD we had that supporting trend line. You pretty much have the same thing here with dollar Singapore dollar. Now, dollar Singapore dollar, price is a little closer. The trend line is at 1.24. Alright, some 59 pips lower than where price action currently is. So if we get that break below, then all that means is and everything is aligned. You have price trading below the daily cloud, so sentiment on a daily time frame is bearish, and sentiment on a weekly time frame is also bearish. There we go. So sentiment on a weekly time frame is also bearish. So we have everything lined up for a possible short and a huge drop in the pair. So let's monitor dollar Singapore dollar and make sure you have this ascending trend line. Let's take a look at some risk pairs. Let's take a look at euro versus the dollar. So basically, I am looking to get in a euro dollar short, and let's go to the 4-hour time frame. And I do like euro dollar. The only question is, where could we possibly look to get short in, or short at? Now, what I am a fan of is this nice descending red Ichimoku cloud. If you take a look at the cloud, you can tell it's been trending towards the downside. However, the only thing I don't like is that we have a retracement, and this retracement, although it is stalled right now, you could tell the Tenkan and the Kijun is starting to flatten itself out. Alright, so You could tell during the whole downtrend the angle was really relatively just going down, down, down. Now that it's flattening itself out and the ticket is pointing towards the upside, this either means that we're going to get a bounce off of the cloud and fall right back, and if that happens, then we'll get a strong Tenkan Kijun cross. All right, and if we do get that, I will look to go short euro dollar. All right, or what it means is that the trend is over, and two ways of looking to see if a trend is over is price breaks above both in Tenkan, which is the first line of resistance, and the Kijun is considered the second line of resistance. And in this case, it broke above both. All right, so the only line of defense that we have left that's remaining to cap the pair is the cloud. The cloud is thick, and the longevity of the cloud should prove strong enough to hold the pair below it. All right. However, if it doesn't do that and we get a price break above, then we could look to possibly go long. Then we could look for correlations about with other risk pairs to make sure that we have a similar situation with pound dollar, with Aussie and Kiwi. All right, because if we do, then we could look to see that, okay, maybe the dollar is losing steam, and we're also going to see a reversal with the dollar. All right, so like I said, right now it's just a waiting game. We have consolidation. Price isn't going anywhere. Last few hours, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, last 32 hours or so, price is just waiting for a catalyst to push it above or below. Ideally, I would like price to start falling. If price starts falling, we get the Tenkan crossing below the Kijun. That crossover work would occur below the cloud, indicating a strong bearish Tenkan Kijun cross, which will allow us to take that short with high probability of the trade working out in our favor. Let's take a look at pound dollar. Pound dollar, unlike the euro, has not crossed above the Kijun. Why do I like this? Because pretty much that Kijun as a second line of defense could be the key to going short. Alright, so I am a big fan of the 1.68. Just want to see where the Kijun is. 1.68, pretty much 80. Alright, and pretty much last two times price retraced towards the Kijun, it bounced off of it and the trend continued. So let's see if we could get that again. Alright, so just looking at the Kijun as a possible place for the entry to go short. Alright, however, if price starts climbing with the pound dollar, and let's say price starts climbing with the euro might penetrate the cloud, and really we have to pretty much choose which one do we think is leading and which one is giving us a false breakout. Alright, so it's a lot of factors that you gotta really play out. You can't just look at pound dollar, look at a setup and trade it. Some people do trade like that, but I like to correlate. I like to see that pound and euro are correlating well together, not one breaking above the resistance and one finding the resistance, because then you're flipping a coin to see which one might be true. Alright, let's take a look at Ozzy. And just because we don't have a certain play right now, it doesn't mean that we won't have a play set up later in the market. Later on, developing this week. Alright, so right now I'm just looking from an Ichimoku perspective. There's just not a lot of setups right now. We do have a bearish trend with euro and pound, but we have to be careful and make sure that trend is still intact and is not over. Alright, and that's why I'm just not going to jump into any pair. Alright, as you can see, for the last 2 months we've been doing really good with our performance, and we want to keep that up. And one way to not keep it up is by just jumping into pairs, is looking at only one pair and not correlating it with the market. Alright, so we have Ozzy. Ozzy hasn't really been correlating with the pound or the euro as much. Alright, so I'm going to correlate Ozzy and Kiwi together. And even with the Kiwi, these pairs sometimes, it's just been a really wacky year for a lot of us, for a lot of traders, as far as those who correlate. Alright, so we have the Ozzy right here. Not a big fan of the Aussie dollar. Don't really see a setup that I like too much. I'm just waiting for something to happen. We did have a nice drawdown. Now we have prices making higher lows, and with that being said, let's see how everything develops, if we get a bullish Tenkan Kijun crossover on the 4-hour chart, we could look to possibly the daily and look for price to break above the Tenkan and the Kijun on the daily, which pretty much would show us that okay, a trend is starting, and it's starting on a 4-hour time frame. All right, and it's carrying over to the daily because price penetrated above the cloud. All right, so you want to try to look at the small time frames, 4-hour, daily, and kind of give meaning to it. All right, the move happens in the lower time frames first, and they show up on a daily or on the higher time frames. So if I see a Tenkan key, so let's say I'll go back to the 4-hour. If I see a Tenkan Kijun crossover, all right, I'm going to look to the daily to see if there's anything stopping that crossover from really taking up, from really taking off and profiting. So I see a Tenkan Kijun crossover. I look towards the daily, and I look for the resistance. And in this case, we have the cloud and then Tenkan and the Kijun above the cloud. So unless I could pass those two lines of defense, I'm going to stay out of it. And that's pretty much how you want to look at the market, especially when you're trend trading. You want to make sure that you increase your odds of the trade working out. Only way you could do that is by making sure that you surpass all supports if you're going short or all the resistance if you're going long. Let's take a look at Kiwi. Alright, I do like Kiwi dollar for shorts. Alright, just on off a pullback. We get towards 0.86, then I will most likely short the pair because we have this flat Kumo bottom, we have this trend line, and we have price remaining below the cloud, indicating that sentiment is bearish. Alright, so you should have Kiwi dollar on your radar. Also, you should have dollar Singapore dollar on your radar for possible shorts too, because I do like the price breaks below that weekly trend line. Alright, that's pretty much for well, that's it for today with the Ichimoku. There's just not a lot of great setups right now, but I'm pretty sure something will shape up later on this week, which I would do a video maybe Wednesday or Thursday showing you other pairs. Alright, does anybody have any questions in regards to what pairs you want me to look at? Okay, John, EuroCAD, no problem. Let's go to EuroCAD. And I like EuroCAD setup. Let's take a look at the weekly. So I'm taking a look at EuroCAD. I like the setup. We have a descending trend line from the high, from the yearly high. We have price breaking above and finding some support at the broken trend line. And we also have a bullish Tenkan Kijun cross. However, what I don't like is this very thick bullish cloud. A thick bearish bullish cloud. Now that's just stopping me right now. If price breaks above it, then I may look for a retracement to get long. But as of now, until price breaks above the cloud, I'm gonna stay out of it. Alright. If you take away the cloud, then you'll look to get long. Alright. If you take it away, you'll see just the downward move started to exhaust. It ended, and it looks like a new trend is approaching. However, anything could happen in that cloud. This might not be a new trend. How often do you see a trend last for so long to the downside, and then you get a brand new trend that's going to climb all the way to the upside? There's going to be a period of consolidation and range trading, and that period could happen within the cloud. And I don't want to get in that. Alright, I don't like trading don't like range trading or trading with consolidation. Alright, so what I'm gonna wait for is definite confirmation. Alright, now price could just break right below this trend line, which would negate it, and we could get a strong bearish Tenkan Kijun crossover towards the downside, and price could break below the Tenkan and the Kijun. So I'm gonna stay out of EuroCAD, but if you are looking to possibly pick not the bottom, because the bottom is over here, but just catch it in what you might think is a new trend, then by all means this would be a good entry. Any other pairs that anybody want me to go over? Okay, Gabriel, Swiss yen, no problem. Swiss yen it is. So I do like Swiss yen still. I like it for shorts. All right, look in the 4-hour time frame. What I'm looking for. So we have just an intermediate trend line. I'm looking for a price to break below the 4-hour cloud and pretty much this trend line. All right, and then when it happens in the 4-hour, I'm gonna look at the daily and look at and notice that we're already trading below the cloud. So sentiment is bearish already. So all I'm looking for is an entry to get short. And what I feel like the entry is going to be is, like I said, below trend line support and below cloud support. So really below 112.80, we could look to possibly get short Swiss yen. Okay. Any more setups? CAD yen. Okay, Spencer, we're looking at CAD yen. CAD yen. Now you can play CAD yen two ways. I was looking at this pair earlier. Before I start, I just want to make sure I don't see another supporting trend line. I knew that we had a supporting trend line here somewhere. So CAD yen is another one that I like for shorts. Let's go to 3 years weekly. Or 4 years weekly, same thing. So CAD yen, big fan of it for shorts. If we get that break below on a daily time frame, ideally we're looking for a break below the cloud. We haven't gotten that break below. Let me just change this so it looks a little more better. So we're looking for pretty much a break below the cloud. You can see this trend line kind of giving us mixed signals, and that's why we have the cloud there. Alright, price hasn't really broke below the cloud for quite some time. Last time I traded below the cloud was back in March. Alright, so right here you could tell a nice candle that rejected the cloud. If we get that break below the cloud and the trend line, I will be a huge fan for CAD yen shorts. Alright, however, if you're looking for possible longs, you could just kind of go towards the 4-hour time frame. You could draw an intermediate descending trend line that's capping the pair for resistance and look for a break above not only the trend line, but you want to make sure you get a break above the cloud. However, my analysis is bearish. I'm short, but of course everybody got to have their own analysis. So if you are looking for longs, then you can look for a break above the 4-hour trend line and a 4-hour cloud. All right. Any other pairs? No? Alright guys, well I definitely appreciate you coming and joining me and watching this Ichimoku webinar. Like I said, I will be doing another video probably Wednesday or Thursday going over possibly other pairs, or if I see any potential setups that I want to share it with everybody. Alright, if you have any questions, you can find me, add me wtcg.chris on Skype, and I'll be more than happy to help out. Alright, thank you again for watching, and as always, good luck trading everybody. Cheers.